Have you ever wondered how two English-speaking nations, one a tiny island and the other a vast continent, came to dominate the world? From the Union Jack to the Stars and Stripes, the stories of the British and American empires are tales of ambition, innovation, and immense global change. Today, we're diving deep into the rise and transformation of these two global superpowers. Let's rewind the clock. The story of the British Empire begins not with a grand plan, but with tentative steps. In the late 16th and early 17th centuries, England, trailing behind Spain and Portugal, began establishing colonies in North America and the Caribbean. Think Jamestown in 1607 and the Pilgrims at Plymouth Rock. These weren't just about planting a flag. They were commercial ventures. The pursuit of resources like tobacco, sugar, and cotton fueled this early expansion. The real game changer was Britain's naval power. The Royal Navy became the key to unlocking global trade and projecting power across the oceans. After victories against rivals like Spain and France, the saying "Britannia rules the waves" wasn't just a song lyric, it was a reality. This maritime dominance allowed Britain to build a trading network that spanned the globe. The 18th and 19th centuries saw the empire reach its zenith. The Industrial Revolution, born in Britain, provided the tools for domination. Steamships, railways, and the telegraph didn't just connect Britain, they connected the empire, making it easier to govern and exploit vast territories. India, the jewel in the crown, became the heart of this imperial system, providing immense wealth, resources, and manpower. At its peak, the British Empire was the largest in history, covering about a quarter of the Earth's land surface. It was famously known as the empire on which the sun never sets. But this dominance came at a cost. The administration of such a vast and diverse territory was a monumental task, often enforced through military might and a complex system of local alliances and direct rule. The legacy is complex, filled with advancements in infrastructure and law, but also with exploitation and conflict. Now, let's pivot across the Atlantic. The United States' own story begins as a part of the British Empire. The American Revolution was, in essence, the first major crack in Britain's imperial facade. But the newly independent nation soon developed its own imperial ambitions. Though it rarely used the word empire, this American expansion began at home. The concept of manifest destiny in the 19th century fueled a relentless westward push across the North American continent. Through purchases like the Louisiana Purchase, treaties, and wars like the Mexican-American War, the United States expanded from the Atlantic to the Pacific. This was a form of continental imperialism, displacing Native American populations and absorbing vast new territories. By the late 19th century, with its frontier officially closed, the U.S. began to look overseas. The Spanish-American War in 1898 was a turning point. Victory brought the Philippines, Guam, and Puerto Rico under American control. The U.S. also annexed Hawaii and exerted significant influence over Cuba and other parts of Latin America. This new phase was often justified not as conquest, but as a mission to spread democracy and civilization, a concept President Theodore Roosevelt embodied with his big stick diplomacy. Unlike the British model of direct colonial rule, the American approach was often one of informal empire. Instead of planting flags everywhere, the US used its growing economic power and military influence to shape the world to its liking. The dollar became a tool of power, just as the Royal Navy had been for Britain. Corporations expanded globally, and American culture, movies, music, and brands began its own form of global conquest. The 20th century marked a great transition. The two world wars exhausted Britain, both financially and morally. The cost of war and the rising tide of independence movements across Asia and Africa led to the rapid decolonization of the British Empire in the decades after World War II. One by one, colonies gained their independence, and the vast empire transformed into the Commonwealth of Nations, a voluntary association of independent states. As Britain's global influence waned, America soared. The US emerged from World War II as the world's dominant economic and military power. It took on the mantle of global leadership, shaping the post-war world through institutions like the United Nations, the World Bank, and NATO. The Cold War with the Soviet Union further solidified America's role as the leader of the free world, with military bases and alliances spread across the globe. So, what are the key differences and similarities? Both empires were driven by economic interests, a sense of cultural superiority, and technological advantage. The British Empire was a full territorial empire built on maritime power and direct colonial administration. The American Empire, on the other hand, has been more informal, relying on economic dominance, cultural influence, and strategic military alliances rather than outright colonization. The British built a world connected by railways and shipping lanes under the Union Jack. The Americans built a world connected by the Internet, Hollywood, and the US dollar under a network of alliances. The baton of global power was passed, not in a single moment, but over several decades of profound global change. Today, the legacies of both empires are all around us. The English language is a global lingua franca. Legal and political systems in many countries trace their roots back to British common law and parliamentary democracy. Similarly, American technology, entertainment, and economic policies have a profound impact on daily life for billions of people worldwide. But these legacies are also deeply contested. The histories of both empires are marked by violence, exploitation, and the suppression of local cultures. Understanding this full picture, the good, the bad, and the complicated, is essential to understanding the world we live in today. The global challenges and power dynamics of the 21st century are direct consequences of the paths forged by these two great empires. From London to Washington, from the age of sail to the age of the Internet, the story of the British and American empires is a sweeping saga of power, ambition, and transformation. It is a reminder that history is never static, and that the empires today can become the history lessons of tomorrow. What do you think? Which empire had a more lasting impact on the world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the forces that have shaped our world. Thanks for watching.